Yeah, she and Carrie worked together at town.
I'm Krista.
I'm Laughlin. Nice to meet you.
I was the assistant manager at the apartment complex that she was on. Yeah. Everybody was having words. I know. What's going on? We actually were in married now. We moved out into a house, got married, and now we have 2 kids. One about to graduate college and one about to graduate high school.
Oh, so you guys didn't tell someone else? Wow. Okay. I want to have 2 others. Yeah. Close graduates here, so it's kind of different. How's the weather? Careful what you ask for. Yeah, well, probably in February. They have a usually trying to get out there, just trying to coordinate it with 1 hour or 1 person, all those challenge there. So, that's great. And that's how we'll do it. We're going to try to see about it. Yeah. Right.
Classic Texas. Right. Yeah, one parade. Right off the after the day. Well, I can't wait to do something because then starts here.
Smoky out, especially in the summer.
I get it all right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's grandma.
Oh, I know.
I know the smart fish are really good to do that.
Right, mom, he said, you know, this is how named after you. And we went to Vegas to meet my sister on vacation. And my women and I
Had to drive through.
went once that time, Laughlin. Then he got kind of. That's what that goes with.
We're getting ready to get started this afternoon, and good afternoon to everyone. I want to remind everybody, please turn your cell phones to the silent mode if you haven't already done so. I normally don't do it, mine always goes off, but I did it today. I'd like to welcome everyone to our service this afternoon, and the family really appreciates your attendance. My name is Jess Fields, and I'm actually the owner of Rosewood, and I normally don't do services, but I'm honored to be able to do it for your wife. I really am. And today we're going to be honoring Lynn with your time to come up and share your stories with the family. It always means more to a family, and these are always the best services because it comes from the heart. And that's what we like to hear, is stories from the heart and what she actually meant to you. So feel free to come up, and Gary and Drew, I think, will be directing everyone in just a moment of coming up to share your stories. If anyone is so inclined to make a donation, the family asks, please select your chosen animal shelter of your choice. I know Lynn was very fond of all animals and animal shelters, so feel free to do that. And then you can share it. You can either send it to Rosewood here, and then we will send it to the family, or you can just share it with them what you all decided to do on that. After the service, please join Patrick and the family at Porky's on Tuscasita for an informal gathering. For those of y'all that have not been to Porky's, it's an experience, so you need to join them. It's a great time, and it's a great place to celebrate and to honor Lynn's life. But at this time, I will turn it over to, I think, Gary or Drew, one of you gentlemen, please feel free to come up, and we're going to start from here.
Hi guys, my name is Drew Hoskins. My wife Carrie and I have been friends with Patrick and Lynn for a couple of decades. So I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you for gathering here today and honor the life of our dear friend Lynn. It's difficult to put into words the depth of her sorrow that loses itself so vital, whose warmth and humor brighten the lives of everyone in her. I had the privilege of knowing Lynn for 20 plus years. For live streaming, yeah. For 20 plus years, and during that time, she became a cherished part of my family's life. From the moment we met, her sharp wit and infectious laughter brought joy into the room. Lynn had a genuine gift for making everyone feel at ease. If you were lucky enough to taste one of her meals, you would understand why her culinary skills were nothing short of legendary. Patrick was a lucky man for sure. One of my fondest memories of Lynn took place during a football game at our house. As we settled in to watch the game, it quickly became clear that our end table arrangement was, well, less ideal for Lynn. Only Lynn could have the ability to stand up, take a look around, and say, oh no, this needs some improvement. Pardon my accent, it was not very good. And completely rearranged our family's table. She twisted it to the side, she moved the lamp, she went into the kitchen, she got some live plant, put it there, went over to the mantle on the fireplace, took that down and put it there and said, there. Now it's right. So, to our surprise, her dressings worked perfectly. Her knack for homemaking was a reflection of her thoughtfulness and creativity. Lynn also had a way of keeping things lively, especially when Patrick and I might have indulged a little too much in the festivities. In those moments, as he and I teetered on the edge of getting in trouble, we could always count on Lynn's signature call, Patrick! That one word, spoken with a mix of amusement and seriousness, was enough to bring us back to reality and remind us of the joys of moderation. It was these little moments that made her presence so special. She had an uncanny ability to balance fun with responsibility. Lynn imparted a lasting impact on all of us. She taught us that laughter is a powerful medicine, that friends are family we choose, and that there is beauty in every moment if we choose to see it. Her legacy will always reside in the hearts of those she touched. As we gather here to remember Lynn, I encourage each of you to hold tight to your memories of her. Share your stories, your laughter, and the joy she brought into our lives. Let us honor her by living fully, embracing our friendships, and cooking up a little love in our own homes. In closing, I would like to express my deepest condolences to everyone here who loved her. Though she may no longer be with us in body, her spirit will continue to shine brightly in our lives. Let us carry her memory forward as she would have wanted, with laughter, love, and a little bit of mischief. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.
Yes, broke the surface with good at enforcing said accent. But off script.
Don't goddamn go stay.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I learned a little earlier that Patrick, when he met Lynn, was actually his friend was chasing Lynn. That Patrick, unbeknownst to him, had you should call the lady that we hung out with last night. And kind of the rest is history. Turns out at that point, Patrick was commuting on his bicycle to work at British Steel. And so he didn't have a car yet, but he would ride the 10 miles to Birch, and then they would go out on a date. So, but to Lynn's credit, she saw something she wanted, and she went for it. She was always a little off script. Maybe that's the right term. That's been it's been over 25 years now.
Yeah.
I was it was precision too. He was doing some training, and so he was done with his training. I had to go over to Scotland, where our other facility was, and we were on the same flight together. We were just crashed out 3 seats wide across the. He said, "Well, don't worry. My wife will take us up to Peterhead. It won't be a problem." I'm like, "Patrick, are you sure about that?" Right? "Oh yeah, no problem." Kind of. Let's see. I'm getting ahead of myself just because I was going off script there. But so he said, "Yeah, no problem." So we meet up in Aberdeen. They give their hugs and their kisses, and they say their hellos. And Patrick says, "Oh, by the way, this is my friend Gary, and we're going to drive her to Peterhead." And so this is where the British accent comes in. She says, "Well, bloody hell, Patrick, I guess I could find a little space for some foreigner in our car and take you all the way up to Peterhead." And I knew right then that this lady was special, because at the whole time she was kind of looking at me out of the corner of her eye with this little twinkle and this little pursed smile. She had this way where she would hold in all the laughter going in behind her head with this pursed little smile, and you could tell she was just crying and laughing at the same time inside, and winking at you, knowing that this was a full joke. Right? This was just the way she was. It was lovely. But at that point, I knew that we were in for a ride. That same trip, she invited me to dinner at their home. They lived in this lovely farmhouse, which, if you've ever been to the UK, most northern Scotland is all built on this great granite, right? And the walls are 2 foot thick. These houses will stand for centuries. I'm guessing it was built in the 1800s. Every room had a fireplace, coal burning fireplace. It was a little drafty because they're 2 foot thick, basically brick walls, right? There was no insulation, maybe a little bit on the inside, but it was beautiful. It really was. So she invited me to dinner, and this is where I too got to experience this culinary expertise. The roast dinners and the roast potatoes and the pudding and the proper British meal wisdom. absolutely amazing, absolutely incredible. The way she would roast those potatoes and dote over that meal was second to none. I can't emphasize that enough. I mean, her culinary expertise was amazing, right there. So she proper meal. She sits us all down, and I would like to introduce you to the concept of a Christmas cracker. Most Americans have no idea what this is. It's Christmas cracker. It is a proper, I'm guessing, British English tradition. I don't know how far it extends, but the key is you have this at each one of the place settings, and so when you do that, you have to pull on it. So you take this, and everybody pulls on one side, and they pop. That is why they call them Christmas crackers now.
Inside is a tray.
It's like a wishbone. So that person gets half, the other person gets the other half. It comes with a toy. This one's a kaleidoscope.
And a hat.
It comes with a joke, which are always laced with British humor, and I haven't looked most of them up. But they're lovely. But the key is they all come with this hat. You ought to put your crowns on if you like, or not, or I'll wear one. It's up to you. And by the way, when you all come to Porky's afterwards, I have more of these, and I want this tradition to live on. I really do. I think that every year at Christmas, we would put our hats on and we'd send a picture to Lynn. So we have, I would say, a decade of pictures with my family in Colorado around the table with our crowns on and reading jokes to each other, right? But I have a story about these crackers because when I saw these, I said, what do I do with this? But hell, you've never seen a Christmas cracker before. Well, Christmas cracker? You can't have a meal without a Christmas cracker. And so a year went by, and we get a box in the mail of a dozen proper British Christmas crackers with the firework inside. Well, it turns out, if you can imagine Lynn at the postal office in the UK, what do you mean I can't send a Christmas cracker because there's got flipping firework inside? That's ridiculous. Storms out of the post office, finds a, quote, sensible postman, and they sort of agreed to lie about the fact that this has illegal contraband inside, and mails us a dozen Christmas crackers for our Christmas meal. That's the woman that Lynn was. Incredible. She would bend the rules just a little bit to make things right, and that was incredible.
She made it work, right?
She made it work, absolutely. So again, this has become a Christmas tradition. I have 3 dozen in my trunk, and I literally want every single one of you, before you leave today, to take a few of them home and experience this tradition, because it really is, it's something that's, it's been a lot of fun. You know, they say that people never remember what you say, they remember how you make them feel. That trip to Peterhead, Scotland was lovely, right? It was the crackling fire. It was their giant black lab, Oscar, that was a joy. And by the way, I'll get to the animal part because she did love animals. It was the warm hearth. It was the warm embrace. And I only met the lady, and she was giving me a heck about, taxi drives a week before, right? And she was just lovely, right? That was how I felt when I left that warm hearth and that beautiful meal and the Christmas crackers. It was Lynn. It truly was Lynn. Okay, I'm getting it. So fast forward a couple years, our apartment clan is somewhat represented here. So when Lynn and Patrick moved to America, they lived in this big apartment complex. And Lynn and Patrick didn't know well, etc. They knew a few people because they were also expats. But they have a large pool area. And I think that the way it probably started is Lynn and Patrick probably put something on the barbecue and they had a little extra, and so Lynn, oh, you want some proper British goodies, you know, she embraced somebody, and then the next week it's like, oh, well, you know, let's all get together and we'll just toss it in the middle and it'll be a good time.
Well, Lynn said at the time, there was people from all over the world, you know, when the oil was starting to go up, and Lynn said, okay, let's have a monthly pool party, and everyone bring a little bit of where you're from. And that's how the monthly pool party started.
Well, I attended those monthly pool parties, and they were a hoot. Let me tell you about it. Because everybody did. They got sucked into Lynn's gravity and all of her spirit, and it was a party. I probably remember some mischief with some of those as well, or maybe not. But the point is that, you know, that almost became probably a weekly party, I suspect, because I remember one time, oh, everyone will be there. Come on, bring your causey and a sweetie, and we'll have a good time. And what's a causey and a sweetie exactly? And well, bring your swimming costume. That's a causey. Bring your swimming costume and bring a sweetie, like a dessert. Okay, I can handle that. I got that one figured out. So I show up with strawberry shortcake, right? Strawberries, shortcake, whipped cream. Very simple, right? And so I'm at the kitchen sink and I'm slicing off the tops of the strawberries, and I'm slicing, and I look out of the corner of my eye, and I get this pretend mad, pursed lips, smiling, crying in the back of her face look out of the corner of her eye. What am I doing wrong, Lynnie? You know, so she's, bloody hell, you're cutting off half the strawberry. You've got to do it. You've got to do it, boy. Get out of our kitchen. I'll do it. I'll show you how to do it. So she takes the strawberry, and she just touches the edge of the green and surgically removes the smallest cone shape beneath the green, saving as much of the strawberry as she did. And to this day, my kids have been well trained in the art of Mom. They all dice strawberries the same exact way to Lynn's specifications. That's just the care that she took with food. Sweeties, causies, okay, moving on. So now we fast forward a little bit further. Lynn and Patrick decided to come to Colorado and visit us for our proper Thanksgiving dinner. Right? Now, Lynn allowed us to attempt, with her guidance, of course, a roast dinner with the potatoes, which, you know, was like a C-. You know, it was edible, but it was okay, despite her guidance. But that was just for a separate meal as we got together. So for Thanksgiving here, we usually do the turkey and the stuffing and mashed potatoes and whatnot. We went to my cousin's house for dinner. And my cousin is notorious for big gatherings. She invited everyone as well. And this is in Colorado Springs, which is about maybe an hour drive from Denver, south of Denver. And so we load everybody up in the car, and this is Lynn's and Patrick's first time there. Great party. My cousin's husband is notorious for being off script, as I mentioned before, a lot like Lynn was off script, right? She was always like the party, and so was he. I knew ahead of time, I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. And you know, the more the night wore on, the harassment and the back and forth between these two, we were just all standing back and watching the show, right? Because as soon as he would say something that was definitely off script, probably inappropriate, she would just zing one back at him, right? And it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, all night long. So he's trying to get everybody loaded up for dinner, right? Okay, come on, everybody's getting in, right? Get in. And so Lynn and Patrick are out front smoking a fag, which for those of you who don't have your British dictionary, that's having a cigarette on the front porch. And so he looks at Lynn and Patrick and he says, well, are you coming? And just that quick, she says, no, I'm walking funny and I'm finishing off my fag. And he just walked away. He didn't even try and come back with that because, you know, it's what I love about Lynn. Her sense of humor, her wittiness, it was instantaneous. She didn't even think about it. It just came out and it hit you. And it was, we laughed a lot. No question about it. You know, it was food.
Yeah.
Her love language was taking care of people and helping them. We had these goofy little lunch things called Lunchables here in the U.S. And it's like a piece of ham and a cracker and a slice of Velveeta cheese, right? It doesn't really amount to much. Well, Patrick got a Lunchable every single day, which I'm sure the guys that work with him have seen this Lunchable, right? It's like tons of slices of salami and a bunch of cheese and fresh tomatoes, and this was the bench. But that was just the tip, right? As far as how she prepared food and gave you lunch leftovers. Every time I visited, okay, we'll get the proper lunch for Patrick for the next day, and you went on your way and you had your Lunchable, proper Lunchable, and a full lunch. And she, I think most of the guys that work with Patrick, they got their gas station burrito and they're kind of eyeing Patrick's lunch, and I know that anyone is envious of that. And that was all Lynn. We know that Lynn's body didn't always cooperate. Right? Lynn had a rough go. She had a lot of surgeries. She pushed through that. And that was one of the things I really appreciated about her, was that she was always happy. I mean, ridiculously. And, even though she didn't feel good, she was always out walking the dogs and taking care of them. They had Henry and George. George was going to come today. He maybe next time maybe get him for porpoise. That'd be great. So one of the things that I always used to do when I would go visit Lynn and Patrick is I would love to wind the dogs up. Meaning that right before, she was, pursed lip and smiling and crying in the background like she always did. So one time, she explicitly said before I came, you can't wind up the dogs today. The dog, you can't wind him up because he tore his ACL and he's injured. It's all right, well. So it sounds like I can, bring him some caffeine and maybe a baby bunny and they can chase each other around. So, we were constantly at each other and I was stirring her up and she'd stir me up. It was a lot. We always laughed. We always had a good time. She would send me Facebook clips, which by the way, I'm not on Facebook, right? But I would have to log into a Facebook account with no friends because I've never accepted any friends on Facebook. But I would log into Facebook to see her posts because it was about, how to properly say goodbye to someone. I'll tell you about that maybe at the bar. But she really, it was impossible, as Drew said, to not feel love in her presence. And I'm grateful for that. And I hope this space and this time, some of these stories have given you some reflection. Maybe you guys have some stories to tell. I'd love to hear some of those as well. What I hope we all go away with is some peace in our hearts. Patrick, I want you to look around because this is the family you have here as well. And not everybody could attend, but know you have support here as well. And we are here for you. Okay? So, rest in peace, Lynn. And if there's anybody else, we'd love to have you come. Thank you. Crackers. Not pretty for crackers before you leave.
I say let's go smoke and drink some beer.
Well, I want to give everybody some time if they want to come on. Yeah. Is there anybody else that's got a nice story? I've bored you all to death. But I do have sandwiches for porkies. So, cheese plate, some fruit. Come by, at least grab a bite to eat before you go on with the rest of your busy lives this time of year. We'll be there until everybody leaves. So, anybody else would like to come on? Well, I'm grateful for this time, grateful for this.
And thank you, Charlie.
No,
Thank you, Drew. Oh, Robert.
about it. I wish I could say it was as many years as a lot of the people here, 20, 30. I think I met you guys in 07, something like that, just shy of 20 years. From the moment that I got a chance to meet Lynn and Patrick, I was brought in a part of that family. Every holiday, because we lived right next door to one another, basically, we would share gifts, and we would share meals. And to tell you the truth, the reason why it was so wonderful is because it was all made with love. That is the real reason why every pea, every carrot, every potato tasted the way it did. She poured her heart into everything that I remember about her. When she would just walk her dog, she would police the neighborhood. You couldn't run rampant on our street because she was there to make sure that we all were family. And she knew I was just an addict for golf. So just about every Christmas I had something golf related, and it was either a putting surface that you'd put right in front of the commode, 5 inches away from the hole. So I mean, I was getting better. Friend, you became her family. And I heard someone say earlier, you don't get a chance to choose your family, but you choose your friends. I beg to differ. She chose us like we were family. Everyone in this, and those who are not here that know of her, know that Lynn is love. Truly love. Our parties that we would have in December were outrageous. We wouldn't let people leave unless a man was down.
Man up, right?
That was man up. And that was the shot that you'd have to, but listen, I was the man down most of the time. And they wouldn't let me just lay down. They'd come get me out of the bed, bring me downstairs. And there I am out in the driveway, laying on the grass. But love was in the air. I won't keep you long because this was a person in my life that I really loved. And I love you, Patrick. Mother, it is so wonderful to see you. Stay strong, mother. It is just so unnatural to bury your children. Be here for her while she's here with us. Because we're all going to go down this road sometime. God bless your heart.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak before we dismiss the service? Well then, on behalf of the family and on behalf of Rosewood Funeral Home, we really appreciate you all joining us today and celebrating the life of Lynn Laughlin. We also want to say thank you, and we appreciate the folks in the UK joining us via live stream as well, that couldn't be here. Again, there is a celebration happening at Porky's, if everybody is welcome to attend. At this time, you are all dismissed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
good job, too. So like somebody knows how to do their for the ball. So I'm good, bad. And you're giving yourself extra time, right? Because we're really definitely do extra time. So you have to watch it because it's Christmas time, so he can't do what he normally does. Well, I know, but it is. Because you guys are hosting, right? You are hosting what? Or is it Christmas Day? Oh, Christmas Day.
Yeah.